In this video, we walk you through a recent product launch at our company. We used this as a case study to share all the steps and decisions that go into successfully executing the addition of a new product to a business.
Before you begin even thinking about launching a new product for your business, you need to determine if you have the capacity to do so. You have to ask yourself the following questions. Do you have extra time on your hands, and/or does your staff need more work to keep them busy? And/or are you willing to hire additional staff? Does your equipment have downtime that needs to be filled? And/or are you willing and able to purchase additional equipment to increase production capacity if necessary? If the answer to both of these questions is yes, then heck yeah, go for it. Our team definitely has extra time to devote to additional production work. Also, our Trotec lasers handle most of our production work, but our universal laser, though lower powered and slower, has a lot of excess capacity. If by adding a new product required that we needed to purchase additional equipment or hire more staff, we would consider this a good problem to have. So, in our case for this product launch, we answered yes to both of these questions. The case study presented in this video is of our process to make and sell LED night lights online on a number of different marketplaces. We first determined all the materials and supplies needed to make, assemble, and ship a finished product to the customer. We purchased a few LED bases on Amazon. The link will be in the description below. With the bases in hand, we were able to determine the thickness of the acrylic we needed to make sure that our supplier carried it, and then got a sample from them for testing. We designed a shape and Corel Draw that we thought would work with the nightlight base. We then engraved a sample design on the acrylic shape to make sure we were happy with the overall size and look of the nightlight. This was also a good time to get the laser settings dialed in and make sure we liked everything about the product. We make a finished production prototype later in this video and we'll share the product reveal then. We also determined how we were going to package the nightlights and ordered a sample shipping box from Uline to make sure it was what we wanted before buying a bunch of them. This gave us useful information, including cost of all packaging related items and the shipping weight, which is what we needed for the next step in this process. We have a spreadsheet here that shows all of the costs associated with producing one LED nightlight from start to finish. This includes the LED base and acrylic that we'll be cutting and engraving in-house on demand. The LED bases that we purchased are readily available online in larger quantities to get the best per unit cost. We also purchased sheets of acrylic and have worked out the material cost per nightlight. Because we will be selling these products online, we're also including the unit cost for the packaging and shipping materials in our total material cost per unit. Again, because we're selling these products online, we've included our shipping costs and an estimate of fees incurred on the different marketplaces. We typically have the marketplace fees broken down by each marketplace because they're all a little different, but the 15% shown here is a good average amount to calculate and helps simplify our analysis for the purpose of this case study. There are some other cost considerations that are not listed here. You'll also want to get an estimate of your labor costs involved in making the product. This can be a little tricky to determine. If you have employees, then you should at least guesstimate the amount of time they will spend touching this product from beginning to end. If you are making this yourself, then it's all about how much your time is worth. Since you'll be running your lasers, you can also try to guesstimate your electricity usage or just lump those costs in your overall business's overhead. You also might want to build in costs for other things, including waste from mistakes and returned product. Once all costs are gathered, do some math to figure out profit and price, keeping perceptual pricing points in mind. Is this in line with comparable products currently being sold, or is your price too high or even too low? If your prices are too high, then your product needs to clearly offer something more to your customers. What differentiates your product from your competitors' offerings? On the flip side, you can price your product lower than the competition if you have the margin to work with. This can be used to increase sales volume, gain market share quicker, and create barriers against potential competitors. There's really a lot to consider when adopting a pricing strategy, but I'm not going to go into all the details here. We'd need to create another video just for this topic. Anyway, if you've gone through this cost pricing exercise enough, You can usually get a good sense before you even start a project if there'll be enough profit margin to make it worthwhile. But you've got to do your due diligence to make sure you don't get blindsided by costs you didn't think about. The moral of the story, don't be lazy. Take the time to do your homework. At this point, we knew where to buy our materials, how much they cost, and that we were working with a good profit margin. We then proceeded with purchasing any additional materials needed to create a prototype. The goal of creating the prototype was for it to follow the production process as closely as possible when the product went live. So we then needed to get our production process ducks in a row. We structured our workflow to most efficiently process orders. The workflow was designed so that we could process as little as one order or as many as hundreds of orders. As you probably know, laser engraving can be painfully slow compared to other manufacturing processes. Given that constraint, we looked for any pre-production laser work that could be done later in the day after we were finished making and shipping orders. In this case, we could cut acrylic blanks so they would be ready to engrave when the orders are received. Additionally, there are a few other tasks that can be done during slower times to speed up the production and shipping process. These include taping up boxes, testing and packaging the LED bases, and even peeling off the mask from the acrylic blanks. Now that we had the blanks ready for production, we needed a way to quickly load and unload them in the laser when we received orders. We could just place them in the laser next to each other, but when they get removed, we don't want to stack them as this can introduce scratches. It's also slow to load and unload them one at a time. We don't want the laser sitting idle for too long. To keep the acrylic pieces clean and make this process go faster, we made a jig to hold the acrylic blanks. If you're doing a lot of volume, this can be a huge time saver. This also will give us a more even workflow. If we had too many pieces in the laser, everyone would just be sitting there twiddling their thumbs until the pieces were ready. It could be a real feast or famine situation and create some significant bottlenecks. Using smaller batches like this, even though laser processing time was slightly increased, we actually increased throughput. Following this smaller batch process, everyone can be kept busy between laser work, packaging, and shipping. Now that we had a way to load our blanks in the lasers, we needed a way to line up our artwork to match our jigs. To do this, we created a digital template that maps exactly to the jig when it's loaded in the lasers. With the template created, we just have to drag designs into the template file, get them aligned with the template, and then send them to the laser for engraving. Here we just tested the sign to make sure everything fit and worked as it should. But normally after cleaning it off, it would get bagged, boxed, and then shipped. At this point, the production process had now been tested successfully from start to finish. Any improvements and fine-tuning to the process will be done later after orders start rolling in. For now, everything works as it should, and the product can be launched.
Hooray!
How we digitally create a product catalog, get that catalog online, bring orders electronically into our production system, and then ship them will have to be a topic for future videos. Let us know in the comments if that would be something that you'd like to see.
Thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments what you think and if this inspires you to take a different approach to your next product launch. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell to get notified of future projects. We have more videos coming soon. Stay tuned.